by film.
5,
Stand by music.
4,
Stand by announce.
3, 2, 1.
And fade up.
Fish are friends, not food.
Make it Centauri time.
Too much iron in your blood.
Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color?
Hey, what happened?
Let's fly! Let's get pissed and watch porn.
Hello, you got a base.
Are you saying there's something wrong with my gear?
We're going streaking!
He found me!
He's doing his Superman thing.
I still only counts as one.
Why is the rum always cold?
All right, well, welcome to a brand new episode of 20 Years, 4 Beers. We are a podcast dedicated to re-watching movies from 2 decades ago while simultaneously enjoying a minimum of 4 modern beers. My name is Steve, and this is my big brother, Tim, and we are coming to you live on tape from Minneapolis, Minnesota. In this episode, we continue our journey through the films of 2003, and we'll be rewatching a wonderful father-son story in the Disney-Pixar animated film Finding Nemo. But before we jump in, we discuss some newer films or TV that we are watching, aside from the inevitable discussion that we will have soon about Ted Lasso. Oh, can't wait. Tim and I are likely going to discuss the same film here since we watched it together. Tim, what do you got?
Can I do one first before we do
You can do another one first, yeah. Go ahead.
This week
I'll do another one too.
I was doing laundry and folding and just sitting around, and I'm like, I should have something mindless.
What a good husband you are.
It's my half of that chore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I should have something mindless on the background to like follow a story or whatever. And when you know Prime Video thankfully figured out some contract or whatever with, used to be on Peacock, Jackass Forever.
Oh, yeah.
Was on.
Yeah.
And I got to say, one, I'm happy we didn't cover the first one last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
When it came out, because it's hard to even talk about like breaking down a movie of just idiots, wonderful stunts, and just hilarity.
Yeah, we almost would have just had to record us watching it.
Exactly. It's like have a little snippet or something. It is exactly what you hope for, and some of the stunts are incredible. But I'm like also thinking, these guys have been doing this for 20 years in different facets, and
and making money off of it.
Exactly. But yeah,
and
younger generation.
Out of it.
So yeah, they highly. If you like the other ones, you're gonna love it. And some of the stuff they do is just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Today I watched Still, the Michael J. Fox documentary.
Oh yeah,
on Apple TV Plus.
Yeah,
very, very well done. They do a really interesting thing where they mix clips from his movies and TV shows.
Sure,
but not like, and some audio from them. But it's like it's almost in his retelling of his life. They're using these, so it's not. I don't know. And then a lot of stuff is filmed with actors, but from behind his head, so it's him walking through things and kind of stuff. It's really interesting how they did it, but what a fascinating story he's got. And so it's really a lot of behind the scenes now, but it's also his history. So, yeah, I mean, wife of the millennia at that point. No offense to your wife or anything like that, but just Tracy, I think her name is right.
Yes.
Like just unbelievable, the support and love that the two of them have. So it's really good. I would check it out. I mean, it's an hour and a half. Not necessarily a tearjerker. You're going to just enjoy it, I think, from a nostalgia standpoint.
Nice.
But really well done.
I'm super excited to see it.
Excuse me. Go ahead.
And then
early
we
May.
had the wonderful time, which we hadn't seen a movie, you and me together in the theater, since Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yep.
So a good year and a half ago. We went to go see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yep.
Which opening weekend is a rarity for me.
Very, yeah.
Ever. But we saw it, and I want to talk about it, but I also don't want to spoil anything.
No, you can, talk about it in general.
And I don't want to oversell it, but I've thought about it every day this week for the past 6 days since we saw it Sunday in some fashion of how absolutely incredible that is. And the trilogy itself.
Yeah.
And where it started and where it ends and the character arcs of every single character across the board.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's, I think, the most incredible thing. Because, we've had other trilogies in the MCU.
Sure.
And they've been fine. Captain America certainly, I think, is probably the best of those, of the progression and the different styles.
Yeah. But that's centralized on one person for the most part.
Exactly. This... accomplishment that James Gunn did is solidified for me. I will watch anything he does.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I have yet to be disappointed.
To start with, yeah, yep. Until he ruins it for us.
We'll see the DC, yeah. But
Superman starts filming early next year, so we'll see.
We'll see. And I'm curious. I don't know how his style necessarily will translate, but I could be proven wrong.
And we haven't read that comic book either, though. That one that it's based on. So who knows? That could be a quirky one too.
But it was incredible across the board. I was moved, laughed. What'd you think?
I agree. The more I think about it, the better it gets in terms of delivering on a large amount of expectations.
Yes.
So again, I'm not overselling it by any means. I think just a lot of people had high expectations, and I like actually that it's probably not as sad as I think we maybe thought it would be. It's still plenty got emotion.
Yes.
Me talk good.
It defied expectations.
Yeah,
yes.
and so for me, it was like not quite Avengers or Spider-Man levels of like expectations in terms of like those going into those third movies.
That's true.
Or fourth in the Avengers case.
True,
but still pretty dang high expectations, and I think like those other films, it just cleared the bar.
Yes,
with room to spare. It was just like, yep, there we go.
And the only caveat that I will say for people on the fence or who might listen who have maybe enjoy these movies with their kids.
Oh, yeah.
This is a bit of a thing that I'm glad I saw it before, certainly my wife or my kids. It is probably one of the darkest entries into MCU. There's a lot of light element, like lighthearted, but there are scenes of, if you have kids that are sensitive to any kind of like animals. It is really tough to watch. It's worth it in the totality, but in those moments, I actually had to talk to a coworker this week that was so excited to go see it with their son. I'm like, just FYI.
How old?
10.
Yeah.
Your son's 10.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to want to be really mindful of this. Anyway, that's only like not spoiler thing, but just as far as it's good to know going in. As
much as we care about PETA's recommendation, PETA did say it's some of the best representation of animals because it represents animal cruelty, and it doesn't glorify it or anything like that. So PETA actually came out in favor of it, so which is odd. But you would think, but I mean, it makes total sense because you actually find yourself saddened
because you're affected. Horrible,
by it.
In some of the ways, and you're like, it's not glorifying; it's actually showing how terrible. Anyway, wow, that's a great
So PETA
endorsement.
Endorsed.
Check it out; it's so good. I'm so happy we saw it.
Well, as mentioned on this episode, we are going to be re-watching Finding Nemo. The story revolves around a father and son duo of clownfish named Marlin and Nemo. After a devastating attack on his home, Marlin loses his wife and all but one of his unborn babies, Nemo. Marlin raises Nemo with an extremely tight grip, but eventually Nemo must go off to school, and Marlin must relinquish some control over his son's life. Very soon, though, Nemo winds up being fish-napped by a diver, and Marlin sets off on a very unexpected adventure to find him. Along the way, he befriends the dim-witted yet lovable Dory, and Nemo finds new friends in an unexpected place, a dentist office aquarium. All of them must find a way to get Nemo back into his father's fins at all costs.
You have so much pride in that summary. I'm so happy for you. God,
so dark, too. When you really think about like a movie like this, you're like, father protecting his son. Oh, but by the way, you know, we watch basically as his wife and multiple children just get
brood
eaten by a barracuda. Just done. All right, so the film is directed by Andrew Stanton and Lee Unkrich. Written by Stanton, Bob Peterson, and David Reynolds, and stars the voice talents of Albert Brooks, Ellen DeGeneres, Alexander Gould, Willem Dafoe, Brad Garrett, Allison Janney, my queen, and Jeffrey Rush, to name just a few.
Hello.
Well, hi.
Name's Bruce. It's all right, I understand. Why trust a shark, right? So, what's a couple of bites like you doing out so late, eh?
Nothing. We're not doing anything. We're not even out.
Great! Then how'd you morsels like to come to a little get-together I'm having?
You mean like a party?
Yeah, right. A party. What do you say?
Oh, I love parties. That sounds like fun.
You know, parties are fun, and it's tempting, but we can't because...
Oh, come on, I insist.
Okay.
Anchor, chum!
There you are, Bruce, finally.
We got company.
Well, it's about time, mate.
We've already gone through the snacks and I'm still starving.
We almost had to have a feeding frenzy.
Come on, let's get this over with.
Right then, the meeting has officially come to order. Let us all say the pledge. I am a nice shark, not a mindless eating machine. If I am to change this image, I must first change myself. Fish are friends, not food.
Our first segment, as always, is Drinking Buddies,
Come on, not my fucking beer.
where we present the beers we will be drinking while rewatching our subject film. As our name would suggest, we cover 4 beers. And I would think in an hour and a half, animated film would probably stick with 4, but we'll see how it goes. But Tim will be walking us through our buddies for tonight, so take it away, Tim.
And they all are tall boys.
Oh, tall boys, yeah. And I think we have theme, right?
We have 2.
2 theme beers.
Speaking of the pride of the summary or the details to come, what type of fish are Nemo and Marlin?
Did you get clown shoes beer?
I did get clown shoes.
Okay, all right, sure. There you go. I didn't want to let you have that. I was gonna just be like, "What, Tim?"
I
already
forget.
said it.
I know. The clown fish. I was like, oh, I got to get clown shoes. So I got clown shoes out of Massachusetts and Vermont. They're dark nebula. Oh, that's kind of funny. Gardens. Yeah.
Nebula.
There you go. Sorry. Dank. That's a weird looking N. Dank Nebula. West Coast style IPA. So we're going to start with that. And then we have from Lupulin up the road, brewing out of Big Lake, Minnesota. They're Unicorns, yes! Imperial fruited sour ale that they brewed with Talking Waters. And I must admit, it's hard to obviously translate this in an audio format, but it's a really cool can. I bought it primarily because it's like a little kid's drawing. So I like it a lot. So if you find it, check it out. But it's an Imperial sour ale with raspberry, Caracara orange, yuzu, pink guava, blackberry, and passion fruit. So just threw the kitchen sink at it. And then, did you know what the number 1 hops that are distributed from Australia are?
The Mataka or whatever, or what?
You'd think. I thought so too.
Yeah.
Galaxy.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes, because I was curious, since the movie takes place in Australia.
Yep.
Had to do something for that. So yeah, the Galaxy hops were the one I found that were the highest produced. I'm like, we gotta go with that.
Yeah.
Ursa Minor Brewing from Duluth. We've had their Galactic face slap, but this is their Intergalactic. Again, Guardians theme. Wow.
Yeah.
Double face slap with Galaxy, Citra, and Mosaic hops. And then just down the road from Ursa Minor, I don't think we've had one of these yet. I was walking by in the liquor store. I'm like, Blacklist from Duluth. We might have maybe had it on our own, but
I don't know.
I'm pretty confident we did not get
Probably
one
not. Yeah.
together. It's their very simply named Dark, which is their Imperial Stout with cocoa.
All right. Okay, well, that brings us to the social network,
If you guys were the inventors of Facebook, you'd have invented Facebook.
where we take a look back at the critical and fan reception from 20 years ago. As usual, Tim also takes point on these. So, Tim, what did the critics say?
The IMDb rating is 8.2 out of 10, which is one of the highest ones that we've had. David Anson of Newsweek magazine said, a visual marvel, every frame packed to the gills. With clever details, Finding Nemo is the best big studio release so far this year of 2003. Joe Morgenstern, who we've covered in the past, is quite the curmudgeon from the Wall Street Journal, did say, while Albert Brooks is very funny, Ellen DeGeneres gives a career-defining comic yet profoundly touching performance, which transcends typical voice work.
Yep.
And then Roger Ebert, 4 out of 4.
Yeah.
I love this. He said, when I review a movie like Finding Nemo, I'm aware most members of its primary audience do not read reviews. Good self-awareness there, Raj. Yeah. Rest assured, parents or simply childless adults looking for an excuse, Finding Nemo is a wondrous pleasure for grown-ups. The film has all the pleasures of the Pixar animation style and adds an unexpected beauty in its use of color and form, which makes it one of those rare movies where you may want to sit in the front row and let the images wash out to the edges of your field of vision.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, the dude...
Yeah, he can write.
When he puts it in like that, that's
write.
Pretty dang good.
Yep.
Academy Awards that year was up for 4 nominations, winning 1. It had nominated for Best Sound Editing, Best Original Score by
man, this is a great score too.
And I remember seeing it when it came on. I was like, Thomas Newman.
Yeah,
so perfect for it.
Yep.
Best Original Screenplay, which admittedly I totally forgot.
Yep,
it was up for that, and then won that year for Best Animated Feature.
Yep. I also remember Jeff Strickler of the Star Tribune gave this like 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 or something like that. And he said, like, even when Pixar is not at its best, it's still visually better than everybody else or something like that.
Sure.
And I remember being like, uh-oh, Strickler didn't like it. And then you see it, and I was like, it's not that he didn't like it. He just was... I remember he didn't love it, and I think now a Strickler would probably look back and be like, it's a masterpiece. Like,
can I get a mulligan?
Yeah, Jeff Strickler sucks. So.
I know he does.
Well, there you go. We are going to pause and rewatch the movie. If you are so inclined, go right ahead and watch along with us. It's a good one. If not, we'll see you on the other side of this break. Here now is Finding Nemo.
Dude. Focus, dude. Dude. Oh, he lives. Hey, dude.
Oh. What happened?
Oh, I saw the whole thing, dude. First you were all like, whoa. And then we were like, whoa. And then you were like, whoa.
What are you talking about?
You, Minnie Man, taking on the jellies. You got serious thrill issues, dude.
Oh.
Awesome.
Oh, my stomach.
Oh, man. Hey, no hurling on the shell, dude, okay? Just waxed it.
So, Mr. Turtle.
Whoa, dude. Mr. Turtle is my father. Name's Crush.
Crush? Really? Okay, Crush. Listen, I need to get to the East Australian Current. EAC.
Oh, dude. You're riding it, dude. Check it out.
All right, well, welcome back to 20 Years, 4 Beers, where we have just finished rewatching Finding Nemo and have also enjoyed 4 new beers. Well, really 3, but we're kicking into our 4th. And that we will review in a segment coming up. But first, as usual, we jump right into our reactions segment that we call Spotlight.
They knew, and they let it happen.
Where we highlight and discuss our top takeaways of any kind from re-watching the film. Why don't you take us away, Tim?
So, I have not seen this in, I honestly don't know how long.
Years.
Yeah, I mean, quite some time where
I assume you watched it with your daughter. I guess at some point you did.
I'm confident I did.
Last 5 years, you know?
Yes, so like 5 to 10 years. And what stuck out to me watching it again was when this came out, you know, Pixar had not had a misfire, and arguably in many ways probably hasn't had much. Like lower,
there are 2 misfires that I can think of, but beyond that, yeah.
Like overall, they're one of the most effective studios where you know I'm going to get my money's worth for this experience. And you think about Toy Story, Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, and Monsters Inc., and which we covered previously, all incredible in their own way, and having moments of depth and weight. But watching this again, it definitely feels like this was a really big leap forward for them, for the realism that I don't know I appreciated when I was first watching it. Toy Story's toys and The Bug's Life is all heightened, but it's, you know, it never felt real.
No.
And Monsters Inc. is beautiful with Sully's hair and these things, but clearly it's a like fake world.
Yeah.
This has the first, I think, experience where, again, talking fish and animals, you know it's not real, but the almost like tactile experience of it, watching it. It is a difference in kind with their quality of filmmaking, where it feels like you're watching a real, like these fishes are talking.
Yeah, fish. That's fine.
True.
Yeah.
They don't have teeth, but that's what I think stood out to me was it's a major leap forward with the animation.
Yeah,
that I don't know. I probably appreciated when it first came out.
Sure,
but the themes are much more mature in terms of and maybe it's something I should say, resonate for me as a father.
Of course.
Probably
absolutely.
different than other ones.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we're recording this Mother's Day weekend. Really,
yes.
In hindsight,
yeah, this could have been nice.
Could have been
about a month from now.
Yeah,
exactly. So it just is overall. I was always impressed with it. So it was no doubt coming in that I would enjoy it again. It's just looking at it through a different lens now as like, not critical, but just what about it stands out. And to me, that's what stood out to watching again was the realism of it, the just true beauty of it. It is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the themes that come into play with loss and understanding I have to eventually let my child experience the world and not hinder them in any way, and all the stuff around that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just was a thing where I honestly didn't want to take many notes.
No, I have virtually none.
I
may have thoughts, but
it was just like I just was so in love with watching this that I haven't done in a long time. I just loved it.
Yeah,
so damn good.
Even beyond that, like you go really dark too, or not dark, but just letting your kids go. Like means you have to accept whatever fate happens, and literally Marlin, who doesn't let him go, but literally like Nemo's taken in the first like,
yes.
So you're like, oh, my kid's dead. Like you just kind of like, oh, okay. I mean,
yes.
So I mean, like which is obviously worst case scenario for any parent, and so you just go. There's not necessarily hidden depths, but there's just a lot of depths to the story. Yes. But jumping back to what you were talking about, like one thing I thought of was. From an animation standpoint, I was more struck with thank you to Monsters Inc. and like the door scene in the warehouse.
Yes.
Because you had in that movie all this stuff going on in the background, and it feels like they had like developed technology that could then be for this movie and have like all kinds of depth of things going on in the background because you're in the ocean. Like nothing's 2D in the ocean. Nothing is like right in front of you. It is all immersive. And so like kind of really interesting because a lot of times you hear that where you're like, let's develop this. And then 2 or 3 years later, there's another thing that you can base this off of. But I agree. I think we obviously look at things through a parent or father spotlight because that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But even then, I would say central themes in this are pretty universal. But even 20 years on, I probably have a better appreciation of this movie because we talked about off air, like the Disney attraction where Crush is interacting with kids. There's a Finding Nemo ride. Like Nemo is still relevant 20 years later.
Yes.
Whereas like Monsters Inc., which technically does have a ride at Disneyland still, I think it's actually being destroyed soon, but like that's not forgotten. But I feel like Nemo is, thanks to Finding Dory too. I get that, but like Nemo is still around. It's still Finding Nemo is still something people are watching.
Yes,
and I think if you had gone back 20 years or even 15 years and said like which of these 8 films at that point, it was like 15 years ago, would you think is still relevant? I guarantee you it wouldn't be Cars from 2006.
No.
Although that's still relevant. It's got 3 of them and a Cars Land, which is amazing at Disney.
Yeah.
But you kind of go like, it's a little surprising when you think back and go, really? Nemo and Cars are kind of like still around? You wouldn't think that when they first came out.
Yes.
So kind of random. But yeah, I didn't take a lot of notes. I think it's just, it's interesting to sort of like let it wash over you, if you will.
Well, the thing about, to that point is, if I think about the first cycle of movies for them, two of the first three or four. It's the fifth one. Yeah, the two of the first four are largely friendship based.
Yes.
And then Bug's Life is basically, Magnificent Seven or whatever. It is.
Wow.
Sorry.
Is this your first time speaking the English? Magnificent Seven? Magnificent?
Me fail English? That's impossible.
Holy cow.
Wow. Seven Samurai.
Fail English?
Seven Samurai.
There you go. Yeah,
thank you. Yeah. I'll go with that one. Told through a fun lens.
So which one was? Bug's Life?
Bug's Life.
Okay,
yes.
Cool. I was like, what? I was just making fun of you. I was like, what? Okay.
Not Monsters Inc. And Monsters Inc. is like, a protective element to it because of growth. This was a difference in kind where it was the parental story.
Sure. Yep.
Where it was that father-son dynamic or child. And so many different variations of Disney animated movies where like some parent dies.
Well, it's got to be a single parent.
Yes.
There's no Disney child.
Incredibles.
No Disney child.
Yes.
Child.
True.
Has married parents.
Yes.
With a happy life.
Those crazy, ambitious, wishful thinking.
I mean, Boo does have Mike and Sully, but
yes. But this is like, I think what stood out to me was just that universal aspect of parents watching it could connect in a different way than maybe the previous Pixar offerings.
Yeah, because Pixar is always known in most really great animated films of the last 20, 30 years have elements where parents can enjoy it.
Yes.
But I feel like this is the first of the Pixar films that are like parents will connect to it.
Yes.
Like this almost feels like a theme more for the parents. I mean, and so of course you end up with an original screenplay Oscar nomination.
That's what stands out for it.
Yeah. And it should. I mean, one of the first things I said was like original screenplay nomination is absolutely justified. Not only clever writing with a whole lot of just fun things along the way,
yes,
all the way down to the end with the swordfish pairing, and
yes.
Especially the conversational style of the kids, like
yes,
very you can tell that
spot on.
Stanton and Unkrich had, well, actually Unkrich wasn't the writer, but Stanton and the other two writers,
yes,
had kids. Yes. I mean, they just absolutely just had it spot on. Great back and forth between both storylines. It was a good cuts.
Yep.
All the back and forth. All kinds of humor from beginning to end. So totally. I mean, I think at the beginning you said you were a little surprised by that. It was just like, or you had forgotten that it had been up for it. And you're kind of like, no, this is really. It takes some central themes from other or some tropes from that's been around forever, but it puts them in this unique situation. It just makes us enjoy it the whole way. I thought the writing was outstanding.
Yes. Magnificent.
Hey!
There we are.
Yeah.
Unique New York.
Yeah. Maleficent.
Yes. Well, what's that Steve McQueen movie where it's like he's escaping like
You're halfway home.
The Great Escape.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, there we go.
Escape.
Yeah. So you think about that where they take these tropes of like, okay, Nemo's in the tank. And now we got to get out of here. And this grizzled fish is going to get him out.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, so I made a note where I forgot not much this movie, but it was like the high points I remembered kind of thing. But the nuances and details in the weeds, it's been a long time. It definitely feels like a shift occurs when Gil shows up to me in terms of it's compelling. It's interesting. The shark sequence has always been kind of like, it's fine. It just felt not slow, but just, okay, it's adding to the storytelling that comes later where these fish beat sharks. So I get in hindsight. But what I love about the Gil story in the fish tank is that's the first experience that Nemo has with a surrogate father experience.
Okay.
Where all he's known his life has been over highly protective father.
Yeah.
In so many ways justified because of the trauma that happened and that type of difference of experience where this fish sees him, admittedly somewhat a means to an end. I get that.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be potentially helping us escape. But it's, again, we think about universal themes. He's trying to build the confidence and strength that he thinks Nemo can have.
Yeah.
And it's the bravery. It's you can do this. And to the point where when he tries to get into the filter and it doesn't work and they rescue him, that he's willing to just give it up. Gil is, because he doesn't want to put the fish or kid in harm's way. So when it happens, like, you've already seen this dynamic at play where this isn't the quote unquote true father, like birth father, like who's raised him, building this up. It's this surrogate father experience that I don't know that I appreciated when I was first watching it.
Yeah.
That it's a totally wonderful shift where you've got that, what Nemo's always known has been, the world is perilous and the tiniest thing will cause your untimely demise.
Yeah.
And Gil's like, no, you can do this. Like, you can take on the world. And so that to me is an interesting point that I didn't think about when I first watched it, but watching it again now, like, it just feels much more weighted when Gil comes into the picture for me.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly agree in terms of, like, it gives Nemo some extra depth. Like, imagine this, to me, I keep thinking about this. Imagine a story about a fish and his family who are just trying to survive, right? Mm-hmm. And they're doing what they need to do. And I can't exactly go, like, into all, not detail, because I'm just thinking about it. But in the end, this fish sacrifices himself so that his family could be saved and be safe in the ocean.
Yep.
And he's captured amongst other fish and is sold off to a local dentist. Like, imagine a prequel of Gil.
Yeah, totally.
Like, just
yes,
the ending just leading up to where he's there and he finds, and Nemo comes along and now he's got this, like, sort of pseudo son.
Dude.
Right. Like, just imagine the prequel that Gil, if you extrapolate that out, however you get to that ending.
Yes.
Where he, like, saves his family and then gets taken away in a net. And then that's when he realizes that if only we had worked together to swim down, like, you could have these things that would lead, I don't know how exactly you get there, but just imagine the masterminds at Disney Pixar just taking that ending and saying, Gil is our, because he doesn't get hurt until he's in the tank, so he doesn't even have to be hurt or sacrificed. I think he's not hurt till the dentist's office. That was his first attempt of escaping. But just, to me, I'm like, what a story you could find in Gil.
Yeah.
Right? Love it. I was like, I'm not saying Gil is, like, my most important character in this movie by any means, but you just kind of go, man, you could really get some even, again, like, and Dory has some depths too in terms of finding Dory. You can get some really big depths to a father sacrificing himself for his family at the end. That then ties into what comes after.
That's a really cool origin.
Right?
Idea. Really, truly, it is. Like,
hashtag give Gil an origin story.
Well, I mean, so we talked about Guardians at the beginning of this volume 3, and we don't have, and I'm not going to say anything spoilery, we don't have anything about Rocket's backstory until the third one.
Yeah, just allusion to it.
Yeah, it's like hinting at, but now I want to go back and watch them all again now that I know what it's really about. And so these things will hit differently. That could be a really cool thing with Gil.
I'm just saying, I'm gonna snip that out and I'll send it over to Disney and be like, give me a story credit and $500 or $5,000. We'll call it a day, or just pay off my credit card debt.
Yeah, that'd be good. That was one thing I thought about in terms of, you mentioned, like, the writers were like Disney minds. This movie and every largely Pixar movie, how amazing must that writing room be?
Yeah,
and the creative team when it comes to just let's get in a room and talk through these ideas and these details. And this is an amazing story crammed into like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We watched Old School to start the this
got
year.
More story than Shrek.
Phone Booth we watched like
but
the
I'm
last
saying,
half
like,
hour.
other
Like,
animated films even just
exactly other animated, like,
way more story than that. Yep.
There's so much that happens in this in a little over an hour and a half. And that, I think, is a testament to keeping viewers engaged, but also the humor, the jokes, and the connections and the weight and all the elements where when it comes to the end where all these things are, coming to a head, you just I'm just floored by what they can do
Yep.
to the, like at the end when it's after the credits or kind of afterwards, and the other fish have escaped the tank, and they're in the water, and the starfish says, that's the longest red light I've ever seen.
Shortest,
yeah.
That's the shortest red light I've ever seen.
It's so incredible.
Allison Janney.
I
God
wonder
bless
about
her.
the writings room. Like, there's like what jokes can work for this, and that's a tiny, or like when bombs go off under the water, and the two pelicans on the top of the sea, a bubble comes up,
nice,
and just moves away. Like, it's these tiny things of like, how do you? I'm just, whenever I watch these movies, I'm thoroughly amazed at the just raw creativity that
It's
they put on
adult
screen.
humor without being crude.
Yes.
In that we talked about this with Monsters Inc. in comparison to Shrek, because we watched them both that year, and how Shrek won Best Animated Feature, and it's well regarded, and I get that to a certain extent, but it's, to me, the difference of lowbrow humor versus highbrow humor.
Yes.
And like in Shrek, he's like, I have to go save my ass, and you're like, I get it, it's a donkey, right? Ha ha ha! But you're like, this is like low hanging fruit.
Yes.
And I know that's a fart joke that we just referenced in Nemo, yet it's really not. It's not a fart noise. It's not anything.
Yeah.
Kids don't even get it. That is an adult joke.
Bubble.
Just a one bubble in the pool, like, nice. And like, it's just, it's funny because it is lowbrow humor.
Yes.
But it takes a sort of highbrow approach to presenting it.
Yes.
And to me, that's fundamentally the difference between all Pixar and everybody else. They take it, like you say, writer's room. They come into it and say, we're going to tell a good story. We're going to be funny. Kids will find this funny. And there are examples of it out there of fart jokes and humor, but the best ones that we still talk about 20 years on are the ones that have jokes like that.
Yes. That are highbrow. And to that point, really quick, a month ago, we watched X2. I talked about seeing the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah.
And Illumination is that type of great animation, but I value it for what it is. They are much more the lowbrow.
Oh, if you watch anything Minions, it's all it is.
It's all lowbrow. Yes. And I'm okay with it, but watching it now is a difference.
Kids,
yes.
I don't give a crap.
Yes. Kids had a
lowbrow it up. Yes. Who cares? That's fine.
But then watching like this,
we're not going to be watching Minions 20 years from now or whatever. Like, those aren't the movies you're going to watch because they don't hold up. It just doesn't work as well. For kids, it works well, but you can't analyze it as an adult.
No,
like, you
totally
just
agree.
can't.
Yep.
So, I have a couple other things, not too terrible much, but just off of the Pixar sort of story thing. I'm thinking we talked about this with Monsters Inc., but with the notable exception of the How to Train Your Dragon series, there is no one that does it as good as Pixar.
Totally agree.
If you take DreamWorks and How to Train Your Dragon out of the equation, you cannot. I understand the Shrek movies, and they're gonna do another one or whatever. Like, everyone loves them, and they blah 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 blah. I'm in the minority there, and I think you are as well.
Absolutely.
Nobody does it as well. And I mean, if you, again, take those three movies out, there's not another CGI or another animated film that cracks the top 10.
Totally agree.
And I mean, Spirited Away is really good, but
you take that back. I will take anything other Miyazaki, but yes.
No, I just look at it and I go, I know we waxed poetic about Pixar the last time around. I don't listen to our own podcast, so I don't really know. But it's every time I watch a Pixar movie, in particular, the first 10 Pixar movies.
Yes.
I'm like, nobody does it as good as this.
We've always argued and talked about, well, not argued against it, supported.
Yeah.
We
don't argue enough.
I could not care less whatever production studio is involved.
Sure.
Universal, Warner Brothers, Spyglass, across the board. Yep. It doesn't matter to me, except to me, Marvel and Pixar.
Yep.
Those are the two that have established themselves as a true brand management aspect of, you know what you're getting into, and we guarantee a return on your investment from a viewer standpoint. And that's what's the difference in I totally agree. Pixar, from the get-go stood out were like, wow, this is a different level of quality.
Toy Story is still really good now, and we know the animation quality is not that good, but all the more reason why they focused on the story.
Yes, exactly.
Like, that's what holds up from 1995. It's
totally
story's there.
Yes, and everything
to the point people want Sid to have you know what I mean? Like it's so loved because the story's good. And it's not because the animation was so good.
And it's the rare studio that we go, so what? There's like 4 or 5 Minion movies, for example, and I couldn't care less.
We don't even know how many. 4 or 5?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
I don't care at all.
No.
But when we had heard years ago that Toy Story 4 was coming out, both of us were like, really?
Yeah, question
what else can come from this? And we see it and we go, holy God.
Yeah.
You are incredible as a production studio where you can now further the story, make it better. So,
and to that point, now that they've announced Toy Story 5, you kind of go, all right, I'm going to reluctantly or sort of like, I'm going to question what story you have. And as long as Woody's not involved, in my opinion, we'll be fine.
Yeah. We'll go from there.
But again, how many toys are there? You can give me a Duke Kaboom storyline. I don't care.
Duke Kaboom, so good.
Like, I mean, no, I love it.
So I want to call out for this, the voice work of Albert Brooks and Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah, this is my last point, actually. Yep.
They might be some of the best in any animated movie.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, the movie doesn't work without them.
Ellen is the best.
I agree.
If you're going to wrap them in together, I agree it's some of the best. But Ellen DeGeneres on her own as Dory.
Yes.
In this movie, she's good in Finding Dory, but at that point. But in this movie, and I'll come back to my point on that. But they might be some of the best. Sorry.
Because without it working like that, the movie doesn't at all work.
No, but on a funny standpoint, or because both are comedians in their background, but even on a heartfelt standpoint.
Oh yes, like when Marlin is
terrible name,
like
let me know.
Oh, but breaking down in many of these ways and like dealing with the guilt and the weight of what he's trying to overcome in many ways and trying to rescue his son. Kudos to Albert Brooks, like pulling off the weight, but Ellen DeGeneres is so good in this with the humor and then the this is my family, or I want to remember these things because I know them with you, and her voice. I agree, the voice work, and we've long talked about where admittedly I didn't look at the actress details for this year, but spoiler, Hollywood doesn't do well with many female roles, so it wouldn't be a big stretch. Vocal work gets a short shrift when it comes to potential Oscar or like awards, because camera work, face is really tough, I imagine. I'm no professional actor, so I can't speak to it. But if you can do what she does with your voice alone and like sucker punch with some of the emotional aspect, absolutely, there should be some category around that.
Or just an acceptance that it's acting.
Yes.
Like, it's just acting.
Max von Sydow gets nominated for an Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Nope.
No, not that one.
Nope.
The Twin Towers movie. Everything is illuminated. There we go. We got there. Yes. And...
yeah, and he's in it for the better part of like 7 minutes or whatever.
Says nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can do nothing vocally, but on screen, you can have a presence for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. Freaking Judi Dench won or was nominated for Shakespeare in Love.
No, she won.
Yeah, she won for like 10 minutes of screen time. Yeah. Not doing much. But a actress like this carries the freaking movie with her voice alone. I just think it's a
what's
travesty.
The difference? Like, what? I mean, are you... I guess, like, I always look at one of my favorite acting performances ever that wasn't nominated, similar to DeGeneres, was Russell Crowe in Cinderella Man, because it's not about what they say, it's about watching them. And we talked about this with Adrian Brody. Brody, I see him, but you're not moved always by what he says.
No.
You're moved by his performance.
Yes.
And I get that.
Yes.
But then there are other people, like, say, Heath Ledger, who wins for the Joker. You're moved by his performance as a whole. And then there's other people, you know, you just kind of go, it's not binary. It's not either or. Yes. It can be like Adrian Brody about the visual performance.
Yes,
right. Why is it not the auditory performance of saying with her? You get the emotion through her voice. And if you can get the emotion through their voice, then you go, okay.
Yes.
Andy Serkis the same year when it came to Gollum.
Yes.
You just go like,
you can't
really?
You can't tell.
Well, actually, Andy Serkis probably better in Two Towers and
that's true.
You know, Sean Astin for Return of the King. But we'll get back to that. So I agree. I think DeGeneres, and I think what we forget at the time was her show was done in terms of the
her sitcom.
Her sitcom was done. She was not on daytime TV. And it was like this sort of in the middle frame. Yeah. And not that she was forgotten, but you kind of go, oh, okay. Ellen DeGeneres. She's not an actress that you go, I'm going to go see her in a movie. And all of a sudden she shows up in this, and it was like the performance. Everyone would talk about Dory.
Yes.
Nobody talked about Nemo.
No.
You know, they talked about Dory or Marlin. It didn't matter. They talked about Dory.
Yes.
To the point where Dory gets her own movie later on.
Exactly.
I love the performance in it. There's completely agree. Performance acting, whether it's screen capture, like we in the Avatar movies or whatever it comes, that's you get short shrift.
Yes.
And whether you have to do another category, and I am a big proponent of the Oscars expanding their categories by upwards of another 10 awards.
Yes.
I am a proponent of, let's not go Grammy style here, but let's add more like motion capture performance, voice performance, whatever you want to do. I get that. But yeah, she was outstanding in this.
Because there's two categories for sound mixing and sound editing.
Nobody knows the difference.
No one cares. No one cares.
Yeah,
from a viewer standpoint. But if you can have it adapt to the 21st century, where talkies became sound, so sure, you can have that be a holdover of almost a century of this type of like technology. Great. Well, guess what? Things evolve, and it's not just like animated or computer graphics, like best visual effects. It's how to use that to progress it moving forward. And yes, like motion capture work, I totally agree. It's largely just a digital version of makeup. Yeah. So why can't that be?
Yeah. You and I talked off
with
lighting. Like, the lighting in this movie, the visuals are just stunning.
Amazing.
They're just stunning. So, you got another point?
I have one final point.
Go ahead.
Dear God, movies like this, I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm going to tear up. They do a great job of like having these flashbacks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like the cuts.
The little, like, so when Nemo seems to be hurt at the end.
Under the net, and
it flashes back to the egg. Like, that's a caliber of the writing.
Correct.
Where you think about, I even said, I shouldn't talk about this because I'm going to talk.
You literally just said it.
God, I shouldn't. But it's, that's what I think elevates movies like this, where it's a flashback to the beginning, where you think about the impact of what, it's not stated, but it's felt from Marlin. And then the reverse, like when Nemo says, Dad, I don't hate you.
Yeah, because that was the last, I guess, thing he said to him.
The last thing he said to him. It's like, this kid has been like dealing with that. So that's what elevates a movie like this for me.
Of course.
Where you think about, as a dad now of a girl and a boy, but just that experience of like what impact you can have on the things that come from them. So yeah, it's just a testament to the totality of the experience coming together. We're feeling like, you know, an anime movie about talking fish.
Yeah.
90 minutes can have that sucker punch is just incredible to me. So kudos to everything involved.
We had it with Life is a House too. It was just that it ties into, for us as fathers and of boys or not or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just, it does happen. I mean, my thing with this movie is, and I see it every time, and I am going to do it. One of my next tattoos is going to be at the end when Nemo comes back and hugs his dad and hugs Marlin, like when he goes to school, but he comes back and hugs him, and like that sort of like moment of like him just saying I love you, Dad, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the moment I want. I got to find the right tattoo artist to do it, or find some sort of like, outline version of it.
Yeah.
That stuck with me, but it didn't stick with me 20 years ago. My kid's 14.
Absolutely not. Yes. Yep.
Right. It wasn't until I watched it after becoming a father, you're like, son of a bee.
I know. You're like,
again. And that's, I am jealous of, like, I like to write, but I'm jealous of people who have other writers in their lives, and you can bounce off of their experience and my experience, and really have that vulnerability to really talk about this and those themes that you want.
Yeah.
And the best ones, man, they just do it.
Yep.
And kudos to them.
Yep. All around incredible.
Yeah, no quibbles.
Exactly.
I mean, if
No
Roger
notes.
Ebert gives it 4 out of 4,
Right?
I mean, what
No
are you
notes.
going to do? And I mean, whatever. We've been talking here for 40-some minutes now, and everyone on this is going like, yeah, move on. We've all seen this damn movie, all right? But on that note, as we close out our Spotlight segment, we come to our final takes called The Verdict.
I'm going up there. I'm going to try it. I'm going to let the jury decide.
This is where Tim and I give our final verdicts after watching the film and decide whether or not the movie held up over the course of 2 decades. If you've been paying attention, you know where we're going with this. I will start us.
Okay.
In the lexicon of Disney Pixar films, Finding Nemo does not crack the top 5 for me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not even top 10, you could argue. Which should tell you just how good their films are overall, first of all. But that is not to say that Nemo does not hold up or even hit in very different ways than it would have 20 years ago. The film is an absolute masterclass in story layering and bringing us along to a conclusion we knew was coming, yet find ourselves enthralled the entire way. Like most great films, the central story is not really the central theme. And in this case, the theme is fathers and sons. Aside from the blatant subtext, really the film is a joy from first frame to last, from the visuals to the story to the voice work. It may not be perfect, but it is damn close. I have 4.75 out of 5. Obviously, go see it if you haven't. I mean, at this point, everyone who's listening has seen it. Go re-watch it. Because for a lot of people, I bet they haven't watched it since it came out or recently, who listen to us. Go rewatch it and just enjoy.
And that's been for me too. I've been like, yeah, I mean, it's great, right? Like, I'll get around to it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So for me, Finding Nemo is a dramatic step forward from an already successful Pixar studio. The movie is an eye-popping story of an overprotective father coming to terms with not letting unimaginable trauma limit his son's experiences. Told through the lens of an adventurous rescue and and how these characters evolve from the interesting interactions they have along the way. It's beautiful, surprisingly human, and elevated by absolutely incredible vocal work from all involved.
Mm-hmm.
A unmitigated classic, in my view, that I know I did not appreciate it for what it was.
Sure.
Over this time since watching it. I agree. 4.75 out of 5 for me. It's flat out incredible.
Yep. All right, well, with our reactions to the movie out of the way, we move on to our reactions to our beers that we drank while rewatching the movie. So that brings us to our beer reaction segment that we affectionately call Drinking Buddies, the sequel.
Let's get weird.
Where we take a look back at our beers and give our expert ratings. Tim will take points, so go right ahead.
The first one we enjoyed was Clown Shoes Brewing. Now that I'm seeing it, it's their Galactica, so now it's also another on point theme one for Galaxy Hops. Galactica Dank Nebula West Coast Style IPA. For me, it was like a 3.5 for me. I don't know if I expected more or just like, we'll see. It had a nice bitter West Coast IPA bite to it.
Yeah.
But the overall flavor was somewhat underwhelming.
Yep.
Not bad, but just like, okay. I guess I maybe was hoping for more. But yeah, 3.5 out of me.
I'm sorry, was this a collab?
I don't.
It was just Clown Shoes, right?
Yeah, just them. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Almost everything I have from Cloud Shoes is 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
I have the same rating. There are, I guess, similar to Marlin in the first half of this film, Like, I thought you'd be your brewery, right? You make good beer?
Yeah.
Like, you're a clown. You're a clownfish. You should be funny, right?
Yeah.
No, you're underwhelming. Clown Shoes is just fine. I feel like, I wonder if we can go back in time and live near Clown Shoes and, you know, like, you go, oh man, they make great stuff. And they became a macro brewer where they start getting bigger and bigger. And their stuff just got more bland.
Yeah.
Everything I have from them is like, that's fine. 3.5 out of 5. I'm not going to turn it down if you give it to me. But even about halfway through, I was like, I'm about done with this.
Totally agree.
I mean, there's booze, so I'll drink it. So it's fine.
Well, I think there are ones that I do remember them being somewhat ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
When it came to much of the exploration expansion within craft beer. We're like, yeah, some of their double IPA is great. And the market seems to have caught up.
Oh, by a mile.
Right? Where it's just like, oh, I should check it out. Like, yeah, I mean, it's fine, but nothing remarkable anyway. And then we had from Lupulin Brewing, partnership with Talking Waters, their unicorns, yes! Imperial fruited sour ale with raspberry, caracal orange, yuzu, pink guava, blackberry, and passion fruit. It is
guava.
Dark red.
Yep.
When you poured it out, again, this is the, not rare, I should say, like common sour ale where it should not be in a tall boy.
I could have actually finished a whole tall boy on this.
Possibly. I guess it's 9%. So we're like, maybe not.
Yeah.
It was 4 for me.
Yep.
I thought it was solid. The tastes, all the like different fruits together were really solid. I was impressed.
2 for 2. I have a 4 out of 5 as well.
What?
Yeah, I can't tell if like, because this was, I mean, we like Talking Waters and we like Lupulin.
Yeah.
But I guess I would probably compare the two of those. I mean, there was nothing about this that was like earth shattering.
Yep.
We've had sours, again, not like anyone's begging me to update the website. If I were to go look at this, we would have sours that have almost the exact same combination of fruit.
Yes.
In this, and we've had them before.
Yeah.
So it's 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's solid. And then from Ursa Minor Brewing out of, what's it? Bloomington.
Wow.
Dear God.
That would have been embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of
I
Duluth.
wish.
Out of Duluth, Minnesota. Their intergalactic double face slap with Galaxy, Citra, and Mosaic hops. It was a 4 for me. I don't know. At first, I was kind of like, The flavor was not off-putting, but I'm like, I'm not sure I like the combination. But it grew on me. I eventually like came around and like, yeah, I like this. So yeah, it was a 4 for me.
Well, we differ on this one, and this is one of the worst Ursa Minors I've ever had. Which, let's be clear, means I have a 3.5 out of 5.
Yes.
It was fine.
Yes.
There, like, I did not get over that, what you're talking about.
Sure.
It's like, okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
And it never went away from me.
Gotcha.
It's like, nothing about this makes me want to recommend it, or I was most excited about these out of the 4 that you had sort of like mentioned. And I was like, and so maybe it's a expectation thing, but Ursa Minor has produced substantially better beers than this. And I go, well, then based on the weight of expectations, if you're going to make better beer, you've proven to me that with these hops and with this, like, you can make better.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll drink it. It's fine. It's 3.5 out of 5. It's totally drinkable. It's good. But if I were at their tap room, I'd be like, no, I'll have something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
change it up.
Yep.
And then we have, right now we're working through Blacklist Brewing Company out of Duluth. They're dark. And that's it. Imperial Stout with cocoa. And I like this a lot. For me, it's a 4. The cocoa for me, I guess I maybe was thinking more chocolatey. So initially I'm like, maybe it's chocolatey. But it's come to be more of like kind of a sweetness to it that doesn't feel like a chocolate stout, if you will.
Yeah.
I like it's like only 8%, so it's not like Imperial where knock in your butt. But yeah, it's solid for me. I like the stout flavor. So.
Yeah, I have a 3.75. Kind of for the same reason. I got nothing. I'm not gonna even go there. Yeah. Everything out of Blacklist I've ever had. Okay, it's fine. Yeah. I got nothing for it.
Yeah,
I'd rather wax poetic about the movie than anything else.
I like that.
All right, so our final segment of the episode is Quiz Show.
The exciting quiz program, 21.
Where in our research for the film, we find some interesting trivia nuggets that we hope will stump the other and possibly intrigue you, our dear listeners. Boy, I ended up with a few here. I don't know if I'm going to ask them all, but what do you got?
I have a couple.
All right. I have one I'm a particular fan of, actually, so I'll probably wait for that till last.
Okay.
So I'll go first.
Okay.
Albert Brooks provided the voice of Marlin for the film, obviously, as we talked about. However, he was not the original voiced actor cast. Did you know this?
I have no idea.
In fact, Tim, the original actor recorded all of Marlin's lines and was not recast until much later in the process after Michael Eisner heard it and essentially demanded they make the change. In fact, I think he even quoted as saying, like, this is going to put them in their place. Like, basically saying, like, you guys don't know what you're doing.
Oh.
What Oscar-nominated actor provided the original tracks for Marlin's voice?
I honestly have no idea.
If I give you the film he was Oscar-nominated for, it would absolutely give it to you.
So I'll acknowledge I have no idea. So,
You blew it!
But what is the hint?
He was Oscar-nominated for Fargo.
William H. Macy?
Correct.
Wait. Wow.
You can't even fathom hearing Marlin as William H. Macy, who we love.
Seabiscuit.
Who we love, William H. Macy. Adore him in every way, shape.
Incredible.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, kudos to Michael Eisner.
Yeah. For many reasons, but yeah, that alone.
That
he recorded all of them. He was fully voiced and everything. And they brought in Albert Brooks.
That would have been terrible.
It would have just been different. I think William H. Macy would have been, because again, we recognize that Dory is really but Brooks brings some of the. Wow. I hate to say this in such a negative way, and I hope people don't listen. The sort of like Jewish doting father, Brooks brings that to it, and Macy doesn't, because that's what you need, right? You can't have William H. Macy, being that sort of overbearing whatever father. I feel like you have that, or even we talked about with like My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Like you have that sort of that overbearing parent is not William H. Macy when I think about it.
No, I totally agree.
Albert Brooks is like, yep, totally.
Yes,
there you go.
That's a really good trivia. I had no idea. Oh, that would not have worked.
Nope,
and
at all.
I mean, he's got great vocal work and what other stuff, but oof. Well, I'm gonna go with my first one.
There you go.
Speaking of Albert Brooks. He's a very well-known actor, producer, and director throughout many, many, many decades. He had his big screen debut in what 1976 Scorsese film starring alongside Robert De Niro.
76? Mm-hmm. So suddenly I'm like, wait a second here.
If I
is
name
that Taxi Driver?
It is.
Yeah, I was like,
and I said, I was almost gonna be like, and Jodie Foster.
No, I got, I was like, the year was good enough. It got me there, but okay. All right. I didn't actually know that.
Me either.
I've only seen that movie once, so I guess I didn't even like.
Right? I've seen it once, and I've forgotten it completely.
In a very terrific scene that takes place on the East Australian Current, we meet Crush and Squirt.
Rogers.
Crush is voiced by Andrew Stanton, the writer-director of this movie.
I had no idea.
But Squirt is voiced by the young son of what Oscar-winning filmmaker with Disney, Warner Brothers, and Mission Impossible credits? The last one should be a dead giveaway, but there you go.
The son of, Tom Cruise's son?
Nope.
I have no idea.
What director? Yeah.
I'll
give you the director.
Brad Bird.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
I didn't say director. I didn't say filmmaker at first. I didn't say director.
Yeah.
Brad Bird's son Nicholas is the voice of Squirt.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
That's really good. So Jeffrey Rush, who voices one of the Pelicans in this, primary one.
Nigel.
Yeah. And Eric Bana, who voices one of the Sharks, would go on.
You're welcome for that little tidbit mid-movie.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Continue. Would go on to what now?
Hence the trivia.
Oh, okay, all right. Here we go. Oh, okay.
Would go on to co-star in what Steven Spielberg's spy thriller that came out just 2 years after this movie.
Munich.
Yeah.
I actually watched that recently.
I haven't seen it since the theater.
I really have a higher appreciation for that movie.
I do want to watch it now, I think, like this many years later. Yes.
There's a scene I don't know if you probably don't remember it, but the phone scene where like they have a bomb hooked to the phone.
Yes.
That scene is one of the most suspenseful scenes I've ever seen in film history.
Yeah.
Oh man, like oh my god, so good. But yes,
I know I don't have appreciation when I saw it. Like
War
when I was
Horse is
25.
another one I watched recently, and I was like, okay, look, that got a bad rap.
We like freaked out when that came out in the theater. We saw it, and like John Williams came up. We're like, oh my god, it's been so long.
Yeah,
yes,
my nipples.
Yeah.
Do you have any others?
I've got one more.
Oh my god,
I've got one more.
I'm gonna be editing this forever. Okay, so we love our box office trivia here at 20/4.
Oh boy.
Finding Nemo would eventually go on to become the highest grossing animated film of all time at that time, surpassing 1994's The Lion King. A pretty impressive run, actually, for The Lion King, by the way. Eventually finishing at $930 million in worldwide box office. So at that time, number 1, Lion King number 2. 20 years later, Finding Nemo is now the 14th highest grossing animated film. I'm not going to ask you to name the other 13. Don't get me wrong.
I bet pass.
Frozen 2 is number 1 all time, by the way.
Oh.
Still impressive considering the films that have been released in the last 20 years from an animated standpoint. Where on that list do you think The Lion King is now?
Oh, gosh. I'm gonna say 10th.
You went the opposite direction that I thought you would. Actually, God damn it! It was released in 2011, so it is now 11th all time.
Yeah,
I will give you a ding. I will give you a ding on that one, and it doesn't include the $1 billion whatever garbage
live action,
quote unquote. Yeah. It actually moved up.
Yes.
So I love that it was behind it, and now it is ahead of it.
I'm like,
this
is gonna be a trick.
God damn it!
Popped
Got
up.
ahead of you.
Yes.
All right, there you go. I'll give you the ding on that one.
Writer-director Andrew Stanton would work together with Willem Dafoe, who voices Gil in this, in what 2012 poorly received sci-fi epic.
Dude, John Carter from Mars is an outstanding film.
It's so good.
I will die on that hill.
It's so good.
Like Tim does for James Marsden in 27 Dresses.
Yes.
That movie is so good, and it was so poorly marketed.
Yes.
That movie is outstanding.
It deserved so much better than what it got. Because when it came out, it's so freaking enjoyable.
Yep. It's great.
Oh, nice. Good job.
All right. So the last thing I have is our favorite fish are friends, not food shark, Bruce, is an homage to what other famous shark who made it scary to go back in the water?
Oh, our friend Jaws.
Jaws.
Nice.
I might even cut that. I knew you'd get it, but I was like,
oh, that's so good.
So that'll bring us to the end of the episode. Stay tuned for our upcoming happy hour on Bruce Almighty.
My name is Bruce.
Hello, Bruce.
There you go.
Bruce.
Hello, Bruce.
Hello, Bruce.
And for upcoming episodes on 28 Days Later, can't freaking wait to watch that again.
Wait.
And the happy hour after that for Whale Rider, a movie that only Tim and I have seen. Be sure to find all of our previous episodes on your favorite streaming platform. We want to say thank you for taking the time to listen and for clicking that like or subscribe button on your devices. Find us on Twitter at years_beers and on Facebook, or head to 20years4beers.com. That someday I'll update. This has been 20 Years 4 Beers. My name is Steve.
I'm Tim.
And thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Wow.
Sorry.
Is this your first time speaking to English?
You take that back.
Nobody knows the difference.
No one cares. No one cares.
Wow.
Dear God.
That would have been embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yes. My nipples.
Dear God.
Cut!
I don't listen to our own podcast. I don't really know.